approached by Danny Boyle, myself and my long-term dance partner, Lindy Hop dance partner, Temujin Gill. They saw a performance that we'd done a year before, which was a blend of Lindy Hop and hip hop and breaking, and he kind of liked it, so he hired us to be on his team to choreograph for the opening ceremony. So yeah, it was pretty cool. Danny had a lot of different ideas that he wanted to deal with, obviously to do with children's literature, to do with NHS, to do with nurses, and also bringing those baddie elements as well. The nightmare section, that's where everything would come alive. We had like a space for like what they called the Dementors section, and for me that was like creatures and kind of baddies crawling around, and what could be better than breakers, you know what I mean, doing tricks and footwork and all that kind of stuff on the floor. So they became an integral part of our piece. We started off with the volunteers casting, which was relatively easier than the professionals. 85 to 90% of our cast worked for the NHS. Because it wasn't necessarily about the greatest of dancers, it was about people that could work well together with other people, that could work well together with volunteers, that could kind of take on the challenges that were about to happen over. Not that we knew like how hard the challenges would be, but it was people that had a kind of generosity about them. We'd sit down with Danny, we'd probably have a couple of meetings with him a week, and he'd kind of throw out ideas to us, and then we'd throw out ideas to him on movement and also on the story. Initially what he wanted was all these nurses to come on pushing beds. So that was like the first thing. Okay, you've got all these nurses coming on, nurses and doctors coming on pushing beds basically, and it was like, well, okay, what happens then? A lot of the volunteers, obviously they're not dancers, so it's like giving them actions to do in time with the music. So it was kind of thinking about that kind of thing, and then there were 400 children involved in this as well. All the children were on the beds that the nurses were pushing, so it's like, okay, what do we do with all these kids? So we had all these trampoline beds on the set, and the Dementors, when the Dementors came out, the breakers and the stunters, they actually chased the children over the beds, over the trampoline beds, and they would go under and around and over, so it was a bit mad, and they would flip over the beds and everything like that. Working with the volunteers, I mean, that was a real kind of buzz, you know. Those people were just, they were coming day in, day out, rain or shine. They'd come from work, or they'd be going to work after coming and doing like a 4-hour rehearsal with us. You know, for no money, for nothing, just to be there. And it wasn't easy, you know, it wasn't easy for them, but just to see their kind of endurance and their passion, to me that was one of the greatest things of this whole experience. You just feel really comfortable with him. You don't really think, oh my god, this is Danny Boyle. He's a really down to earth, just a bit of a genius kind of dude, man. You know, if he likes something, he'll always say, you know, that was really great, or thanks a lot for doing that. And you know, and there was some challenging times. One of the hardest things, or the most challenging, was having that kind of communication between, because as I said, it was on such a big, massive scale. Sometimes something would change and we might not find out about it until later, and there'd be kind of so many different things going on at the same time. It could get really, really confusing and sometimes somewhat frustrating. Just to walk out there and you knowing that 80,000 people in the stadium are watching you, but also I don't know how many billion around the world are watching you. It's like, oh my god, I'm actually dancing at the opening ceremony of the Olympic Games in my own town in London. We came off stage and we were like, oh my god, we just did it. It was mad, and everyone was on a real high, so yeah, it was pretty surreal. Yo, this is Sun. I want to give a big shout out to B-Boy News and Zoe, who's up there doing her thing right about now. So yeah, big up B-Boy News. Peace.